Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Fallout. I watch every game every week trying to get you the daily fantasy nuggets and the pearls of wisdom. Today we are talking about the Oakland Raiders versus the Indianapolis Colts. Let's get going. All right, so let me say this. Oakland, they came out strong in three out of their first four games. Two games at home, they put it up on Denver to open the season on Monday Night Football. Started quick and never let off the gas. Against Kansas City, they started out very quick as well. They ended up losing that and not covering the spread, by the way. Third game, their first road game of the season against Minnesota, they couldn't get anything going. Minnesota ran pretty much and did what Minnesota likes to do, ball control, offense, played strong defense, and Oakland came out flat. And so I was wondering, is Oakland a team that is, just charged up by home? Can they come out with energy in another place? Well, credit John Gruden, the coaching staff, and the players. They came out and started the game strong. That's 3 out of 4. I can say, that's a trend. You got to credit the coaching staff there. They're Paul Gunther, the defensive coordinator, of course, John Gruden. They have good game plans, good scripts early. They have a good, they're dialed into basically the other teams. Now, do they do as well in the second half? Not as well, but I wouldn't say they're a bad second half team. But they just come out strong. So I like Oakland, and I was down on them before the season. And to be fair, that was primarily because I thought Antonio Brown would make it more than 0 games with them. I thought he would be a presence and a distracting presence, and he was, but Oakland got rid of him, addition by subtraction. So good for Oakland there. Let's talk a little bit about their offense. Derek Carr, it starts with him, 21-31, 189 yards. I don't really love that, but 2 touchdowns, I like that a lot, and no interceptions. So, his quarterback rating, well over 105. Well over 100. He was 105. He did well, and then Josh Jacobs, Oakland likes to run the ball, 17 carries, 79 yards. Not as big of a running day as you would think. I think, Indianapolis, I thought, did well, but I thought Oakland outplayed them, and I liked Indianapolis more. I like Indianapolis as a team. They're 2-2 now. I got to say, I'm really impressed with what Oakland's doing, especially the energy that they're coming out with, to start the games. They score on the first drive quite often. That's a big deal. Going up and you taking the ball and going up 7-0 in the first 5 to 10 minutes of a game. That's a big deal. And they get, with Josh Jacobs, they can run the ball to end the game, and that is also a big deal. In terms of receiving, I'm not enamored with the receivers, but it's not really hurting this team much. J.J. Nelson didn't play again. I do like him. If you watched last week, I said pick this guy up on waivers. I think he's going to be worth having if he can get healthy and get back on the field. But Terrell Williams, 7 targets, only 3 receptions, but one of those was a touchdown, 36 yards. Darren Waller continues to be basically the guy that moves this passing game along, just like Jared Cook was last year. And if you're a reader of my Fantasy Football Almanac, I said, hey, draft this guy. I think I picked him up in the last round of my draft, just knowing that he would be there. But 53 yards, 7 receptions. So in a PPR league, like let's say a DraftKings, that's a 12.3. That's good. What's bad is for 4 games in, he's leading that team in receptions and not getting into the end zone. And what's annoying is the other tight end. I think it's Fabian. I always get Fabian and Foster Moreau confused, but I think it's I think it's Foster. I don't know. One of those guys. But no, their other tight end got in the end zone. 3 catches, 30 yards, and a touchdown. Gosh, man. I have Waller, and I'm dying because he never gets in the end zone, but he gives me good production every single time, and I can't be sad about that. I mean, he was a sleeper tight end, and he's a guy I picked up in the last round, knowing I'd be able to start him every week, and he's doing quite well. Now, Hunter Renfrow didn't really get anything going. If you look at this team, they didn't really get a ton going. It's really those 2 touchdowns to Williams, Moreau, and then they had Davis get one of the rushing touchdowns instead of Josh Jacobs. So there you go. There's your 3 touchdowns, and their defense is strong. Even now that Burfict will be out for the year with that ridiculous hit. And, I know if you're a Raiders fan, you're probably like, oh, what's going on? But you remember, he has a track record, and your track record is going to cause issues, especially in the NFL. And I really believe this, if he didn't run off the field laughing and blowing kisses to the crowd, he might not have gotten a full season suspension. Yes, we're going to go see what happens in terms of appealing and all that stuff. We'll see. The NFLPA and the NFL will handle it. But either way, the Raiders are going to be out of Burfict services for the rest of the season, or at least a huge chunk of it. And then Indianapolis, as a counter, just started running the ball. And, this Oakland defense, I feel like that intimidating guy in the middle is kind of a big deal for that defense. I think they'll rebound, and I don't think it's anything that they can't rebound from. But, it did cause some issues in this game, but not issues that were big enough to lose the game. Let's talk a little bit about the the Colts here. Brissett, 24 of 46. I'd like to see that completion percentage a little better, but 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, 265 yards. I continue to be impressed with him. He could have done better, but let's be real about this. TY Hilton wasn't playing. Devin Funchess is on IR. I said last week as as we were moving into this, what I expected to happen if T.Y. Hilton was out was them to try to get Marlon Mack going, and then I thought Doyle would probably be the best benefactor of targets in this offense because they're probably just going to go to two tight end. And that's kind of what ended up happening, though Ebron did get in the end zone. Actually, Doyle did as well as I'm looking at this. Doyle, 4 catches, only 22 yards, but he did get that touchdown. Ebron, only 1 catch, 48 yards and a touchdown, so it was a big catch for him. And then Rodgers got in the end zone as well. But Paris Campbell had some opportunities, 5 catches, the talented rookie. I do think he's somebody that if you haven't picked him up yet, if you're in a deeper league, if you're in a dynasty league, if you are in need of a wide receiver, Paris Campbell is a guy that you can pick up. When T.Y. Hilton comes back, I think Campbell will be on the other side. And he's a good, talented guy, man. He's just coming up. He missed a lot of training camp because of injury, so we haven't heard a lot of hype on him. But he is somebody that I think will get better and better and better as the season moves forward. So keep an eye out for that guy. Put him on your watch list and watch his stats. I like him quite a bit. And Naheem Hines is also involved again, trying to help out that passing game any way they can. But they didn't really have a lot of deep threats, and Oakland was able to close the gaps. And, as a result, Marlon Mack, 39 yards and 11 attempts. He's also kind of nursing an ankle. I think he went out of that game early. He's questionable for week 5. That's a big deal, man. I think Marlon Mack is probably the linchpin of this offense. Last year, when the Colts went on that incredible run to end the season, that really actually coincided. If you go back and look at the injury reports, I think Marlon Mack missed the first, 5 of the first 6 games or something like that. I think the Colts were like, 2-4, 1-6, so they had a bad record and then reeled off like 9 or 10 straight wins to end the year. And that happened when Mack came back. And when Mack came back, he was getting a lot of yards. He is a 3-down running back. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can move the pile. And that opened things up for Luck. I think the same is true for Brissett. And I think with Brissett, although I like him quite a bit, I do think that Brissett needs that support in the run game, and I don't think Jordan Wilkins can get there. I don't think that Naheem Hines can get there for him. I think they need Mack, and they certainly need T.Y. Hilton back, somebody to open up the top of this defense. So there you go. Fantasy-wise, you can look at Renfro. I still like J.J. Nelson, and I still like on the Colts side, I like Paris Campbell. I think those are the 2 guys that I think can lead you and get you some points moving forward into the season if you need some wide receiver help. So that concludes this episode of the Fantasy Football Fallout. If you could, please support our channel by subscribing and watching some videos. There's a link in the upper left-hand side of your screen. That's our logo. And the lower right-hand side of your screen, there's a red button, the YouTube subscribe button. That'll take you there as well. You can also watch some playlists in the upper right-hand side of your screen. Thanks, everyone, and we'll catch you on another episode.